And he gets the easiest job of the day, sitting on the tractor baler. It's a really nice, steady job. You hardly ever have to get off and solve any problems. And so Ed Westlake is our neighbour, and we share a field of straw most years. And that's his poor mother up there working hard. She's been doing it for nearly 40 years.
Right.
And Max is Ed's mate from school.
Yeah.
Because he comes and he wants to be in the countryside, otherwise he's stuck in an office. And Edward's running away from the camera. I think he's a little bit camera shy.
And who was harvesting?
And Lewis is over there harvesting. Lewis and I went on holiday to Suffolk in the March episode. We went to the Class Factory. So that's Lewis Lewis comes to do Mr. Sykes' combining for him. They come from East Meon, family farming, and they've got 3 machines like that, and they do lots for various people in the area. And Mr. Sykes now finds it's a little bit more cost effective to get someone to do his own combining rather than him owning a machine. And so it's early July, the winter barley straw is here. It's a little bit broken, a little bit chaffy. It's all due to a lack of rain since March. I don't think the yield is great. You can usually go by the swath of straw and on how much grain you get, and the swath of straw just isn't really there. It's all down to the weather, which is nothing we can do about. Climate change? I don't know. Could be. Who knows? Tying the load on is very important, don't want it falling off. All the youngsters throw a strap over it. I haven't got a strap, but when you start work for flying folks, you get given a bit of rope to tie your load on. Do that, make it nice and tight. So you make your pig's ear, and the one even in the scouts. Scouts are supposed to be good at knots. Grab it up there, lay that on top, go round twice, nice and tight if you can, and then feed that through there. Find the hook down the bottom. And then pull that one and you can pull it pretty tight. And if you're really careful, you can put another one in if you lift yourself enough room. And if you wanted to be silly, if you pulled that tight enough, you'd almost break the rope. And then put a half hitch in, and then that's fine.
We scrapped that one, hang on. No.
Well, the roof blew off. That's what happened. But it probably blew off last winter, or might have even been the winter before. So it's I don't know if anybody can tell, but that's a self-built bar with the help of one or two, I think. Very keen edition. Ed Cooper, Willie Walls, Piers, they all had a go at building. I built about 4 bays of far end, which was like really wonky. And they laughed at it, and I said, well, if you're going to laugh, you can build the rest of it for me. So they did a couple of years ago. So Mr. Speedy being a bit tight, I bought the wrong screws. And we need a long screw really. It was always best to have a long screw, but we only had a little short screw. And obviously the wind comes from this way, basically west is that way, so the wind comes that way. And if the barn is half empty, the trouble is the wind gets in underneath it and there's nowhere to go, so the only place it goes up and it takes the roof with it. The barn is much better when it's full up, the wind can't get in underneath it quite so much. So we're re-roofing the shed. Obviously when some of the sheets blew off, we got a bit bent and fussy. Found some second-hand stuff. This end will be a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, because we managed to salvage much of the tin, about 3/4 of it, but this end is going to be a little bit of a jigsaw. And we've got the scaffolding all there ready, look. Might look like bales of straw to some of you, but it is. Makes it much safer to working on top of the roof. We've got a homemade ladder there with bales of straw, but it's actually a ladder. Been on the list of jobs to do for about 18 months now, since it blew off. The farmer, when he was putting the bales of straw in the shed the other day, managed to land one in the ditch. Don't know which farmer it was. We did spruce the tractor up the other day. You wouldn't notice it again now, but when people ask you to do a little job, it makes you clean your tractor and makes you get all the lights working, all the mirrors straight. We did a prom run for Kerry from Denmead Tyres, my new best friend, with strange coloured hair, but we won't hold that against her. Her daughter wanted to go to her prom down at the Queen's Hotel in Southsea in a tractor because it was something different, and she was dead right, because there was nobody else in a tractor. When you go over ports downhill, they kind of never seen a tractor before. You don't really get tractors much down there. You go to Walsford or Winchester, loads of them turn up in a tractor. Usually them big horrible green and yellow John Deeres. Awful thing. But a nice lime green and orange tractor. So we took her to her prom, and she was the only one. And there was lots of other fancy cars, and it was quite good. They all thought I was putting myself out for them, but I enjoy it as much as they do. Taking them down and see all the girls and the lads all dressed up, and the girls in their pretty frocks, and talk to one or two others, and yeah, no, it was all fine. So we had a jolly good evening, and I think they were very grateful. Good job done. And the bull has had a bad, he hasn't had a bad leg, he's had a whole hind quarter. I've never seen it before in an animal like it, but I went to the field and I could tell he wasn't right. His whole hind quarter was all swollen up. It's still fairly swollen now, but after a course of antibiotics, etc., it didn't really seem to be doing much, and some anti-inflammatories. So I got the vet last week, and she lanced it in the side here, and she lanced it in the back there. Because when he walked, you could actually hear something sloshing around in it. It sounded like he was carrying a load of water in this whole hind quarter, just one side. And the pus that came out of it was unbelievable. I wish I'd filmed it, but I didn't. So there's a hole at the back there, and there was a hole at the side where the purple spray is. I'm not saying he's got rid of it all yet, but he's much better than what he was, and he just needs to go back with his girls, with his cows. And so this hole is obviously still open and oozing a bit of pus, but there's not loads there. He's got a bit on his tail, and that is just incredibly stinky. But he's much better than he was. He wants to go back to the field, so we're just going to load him up in the livestock tray and take him back down to the cows. see, he's not over the moon about that, but it's got to be done. So, he's 6 years old. He is quite a good boy, actually. And even if he is quite a good boy, never trust him. That bull could live on this farm for 20 years, and you could cuddle him every day and stroke him and say, oh, he's my best friend, he'd never hurt me. But they can turn just like that. Never trust a bull, even if he is pretending to be your best friend for a good many years. And so our latest acquisition is our new, well actually I don't know if anybody can notice, but it's not actually new, it is second hand. This is our combine harvester. It's a Class Mercury combine from 1964, bought at a farm sale a couple of weeks ago. Not too sure why we bought it. It was. I think it was too good to go to the scrap man, which I think that's where it might have ended up if I hadn't bought it. Well, I actually bought it off the scrap man. It just ended up here, and then of course after you bought it, everybody tells you what's wrong with it and why it doesn't go, and oh, it's a piece of junk. But hey ho, you bought it by then. But we haven't actually got the engine running yet, so we've just taken the starting motor off because I think the starting motor is rather lazy. And at 60-something years old, I think I'm going to be a bit lazy as well. So we've just ordered a new starting motor. The engine does turn over, it just doesn't seem to turn it over quick enough. And once we get the engine running, we can put the wheels in motion, see what else is wrong with it. We might have a bit of fun with it in a couple of weeks' time. So Alex has been here messing around with me today as well, cleaning out a bit, cleaning out the ball pen, finished putting the roof on, the shed down Weller's yard. And he's just gone home to get some strawing with his mate Greg. And go on, you can go home now. Right. You're too good looking to be here, I keep telling you that.
I'll go.
We're just going to turn the bull out in the field now. Alright. Unfortunately, we have had a death in the family in this month. My cousin Mary in Ireland, who was in the March episode, and she is the lady who is in the farmyard rolling the round bells with me in the dark. So she's my cousin, and unfortunately she died very suddenly about 10 days ago now. And so we went to Ireland to do our best for Mary, and it was very sad because it was the first cousin I'd lost over there. So poor old Mary.